Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Mr. Puntastic Podcast. On today's episode, Micah tries to explain technology to a moron.
And said moron tries to sing bass.
That hurts my feelings.
Mr. Puntastic. Paul, you know what's funny is I get these reels sent to me, and they're of Gen Z people holding like little microphones or holding like this and talking like this.
Yeah, a trend I think is so stupid, by the way.
And the funny thing is, so I get these a lot because this guy we work with, he sends them to me all the time because he thinks it's a ridiculous use of a microphone. It's like, why are you even, just get a handheld. Why are we holding a little Rode square mic that's supposed to clip on? And I don't care at all, but it just reminded me of it when you grabbed your mic and you were like right up to your mouth about it. And people actually do that with these a lot, with these Rode mics. Instead of putting it on a stand, they'll just hold them and kind of talk into them. And I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah. I feel like there's an alarming lack of microphone etiquette in our and it's shocking, really.
As a musician and a presenter or speaker, like we've both done those things, what do you feel is good microphone etiquette?
This is a great question, one that I am wholly unqualified to answer. So, of course, I will answer. I've always operated under the like one fist away. Like if you put your fist, it's hard to hear me if my hand is covering my mouth. But if you put your fist up to your mouth and then the microphone is on the other end of your hand, you're in a good spot. That's kind of where I try and live. But like when I'm singing a song, if I'm trying to get a little more color on it, a little more twang, I might get right up on it and just kind of, I want you to hear the lows, so I'm going to be right on top of it.
Yeah.
Which you've run sound for me many, many times.
I would say, I've gone through an evolution of microphone etiquette because if I'm singing bass or something, then I'm going to have it.
About the bass.
I'm going to have it like right, like almost on my nostril. You get a lot of resonance coming through here. So you just hold it right.
Oh, on the nostril.
Yeah. Like almost right there. So if I'm trying to just hit the like real lows and they're quieter because just the amount of air that's coming to get those, I'm trying to get all the resonance I can out of this nasal cavity.
This is interesting. We do a song in our set with a cover song of a song called It Ain't My Fault by the Brothers Osborne. And he's got sort of like a low Johnny Cash type of thing. And it's always a struggle for me because the song never really like I want to shout a little bit. I want to yell a little bit. Yeah. And it doesn't really happen in that song. And so I have to get right on the mic, but I've never tried the nose thing. So I'm going to try it right now.
You should try.
Tell me if it's working.
Yeah, you should go for it.
Blame the whiskey on the beer. Blame the beer on the whiskey. That's the line.
Well, to compare it, you have to do it without putting your nose on it.
Oh, blame the whiskey on the beer. Blame the beer on the whiskey. Maybe it kind of sounds the same thing in my head. Because there's like a line where it's like, it ain't my fault. Really hard to get down low. I am not a bass, but on that song, I have to sing like one.
But in the morning,
not easy to do.
You could be in the morning. So.
Could.
Right.
In the morning sometimes.
Let's transition here because I think we can talk about this kind of stuff all day. But I have in here on our notes, I want to talk about AI for a few minutes. I want to know if and or how
Allen Iverson, the great NBA
artificial
guard
intelligence, the big topic right now. But here's why, because it's evolving constantly, and I'm curious to know what or how you're using it in work or life.
Okay, so this is a timely topic.
It is timely.
It is very timely. This is fun. We should just do this all day. So I've done a lot of video editing in my time, a lot of putting together presentations.
Yeah.
I should qualify. And a lot of bad video editing.
Okay.
There are really good like video guys and gals. I am not one, but I can slap something together that is decent and gets a laugh, right?
We call that flashing trash.
Oh.
That
hurts my feelings.
You said slap things together and get the job done. Just like in lighting, like if you're just flashing a bunch of lights on a stage, it looks cool, But if there's no reason for it or it doesn't fit the music, then it's like, what?
I know, but when you call my video editing trash,
No, I didn't. Okay, that's how what I've been.
Anyway, I was just putting together a video for a project where I'm in sales. And so we're doing a kickoff for our selling season, our busiest time of year. And it was designed to like fire up the troops. And so I had all the reps from our zones send me a video of them saying 3 sentences. It's selling season. I'm all in. Let's go. Like, give me a little enthusiasm, whatever. But I wanted them to say, it's selling season. I'm all in.
With a break.
So I could put it together.
Yeah.
But they all kind of were like, it's selling season. I'm all in. Let's go. And I'm like, I can't, it's hard to, like, so I worked through that. It was fine.
They were speaking in cursive. Like it's all connected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's all a lot of different audio levels, some Android phones, a lot of iPhones, video quality, whatever. And so I did probably for a good 20 minutes searching for like options for AI video creation.
Right.
Because I wanted just to be able to dump this in a reservoir. That's that word.
Interesting.
Into a library and have AI pop out a video. And
Right.
I realized I don't know how to ask AI questions to get the things that I want. I've also seen it where like when you're putting together a presentation, we will sometimes like do a sales book or something, right? So like we're sort of going to do a book report, or we're going to read like 5 chapters of a book and then discuss as a leadership team or whatever. And so there's a guy that's on my team who he's very good at this, where he will like ask ChatGPT to do a summary of the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
And then ChatGPT will pop out this thing, and then he can make adjustments as he goes.
Right.
And I'm like, that would revolutionize my life. I wouldn't have to read the books, but I realize it's not in my head yet to like go to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm of that age where, although you're roughly the same age as I am and you do this very well. So maybe it's just me being not technologically savvy, but I just don't think about, have AI do it yet.
I think something that this is going to sound like not a compliment, yet it is. Something you've done very well over the years is you've refused to learn things to enforce, like to remain at a leadership level. Do you know what I mean? Like you've refused to like get into the detail in the weeds of something and learn a new thing, because that's going to be someone else's on the team, or that's going to be somebody else that works with you. Like they're going to do it. I go the opposite. I go all the way in the details and try to learn the thing, and then I get stuck with the thing.
Yeah. And then you wind up, like we see it in church world all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I would much rather bring in sound people, lighting people, video people who know how to do this stuff and do it well, and work on like the language of communicating with them and how do they bring it out. Partly because on my best days, I believe in empowering people, and I like collaboration. So I like the idea that I could have this idea, but we could refine it together and you can put your spin on it. And it's like, it becomes us rather than just me. But also like, I would say it's less like of a principled stance that I'm not going to do that, and more of a laziness thing. Like I might try and learn how to run sound. And then it's like low pass filter, these things that come up, these phrases. And I'm like, I got no idea. Let me just play some music, just make it sound good. For instance, I've been playing guitar for a long time. And a lot of acoustic guitar players, especially people that are like doing solo gigs, even in some bands, doing some church music, doing country music, kind of my 2 wheelhouses, are using effects pedals on their acoustic guitar. And so I did this like deep dive of this idea that when you just plug straight, this is so not going to be entertaining to a lot of people. So
you never know.
But if you plug in directly to a direct box to go right into the system, you're basically giving a raw guitar tone to the sound person, and then letting that person put effects on it or whatever. The problem is you lose a lot of the natural guitar sound. And then if you're in environments where there's not a lot of time to really dial in and EQ the guitar because you got a whole band and you got 45 minutes to put it together, which is like a Sunday morning church experience. Well, then no one ever does anything to your guitar. And then a lot of people would say it's an acoustic guitar, Paul. Nobody hears it anyway, to which I would say you're correct, but it still is interesting.
That's untrue.
But. And so what I'm getting, looking at is like, okay, do I go into the world of getting a reverb pedal or maybe a little delay, maybe a little EQ and having a little small pedal board with my tuner and, a couple other things on it that I can just set up and then I can give to the sound person a fuller sound. The problem is I have no idea how to like dial those things in. So then you have to buy an amp at home and you got to like play with your tones and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
I don't want to get into the weeds of that. Well, here's what brought up the AI thing, right? So that's a use case you've seen among your team. Like some of them have realized how they can utilize it to summarize things or break out points or things like that. That's great. I think there's so many use cases that it's insane, but there's a new thing. I guess it's not that new. It's been out for like a year, but I just started learning about it. And so I tried it out last week and it's called Notebook LM. So Notebook Language Model. It is a Google product. So notebooklm.google.com. It basically, if you think about
this podcast brought to you by Notebook LM. No, I'm just kidding. Not
sponsored. But here's what it does. If you think about it, like if you were in college, you could create different digital notebooks. So you could drop in PDFs, websites, papers, audio recordings, YouTube video links. You could drop all this stuff into a notebook around that subject. And then you could ask it to do different things, like give me the main points, give me the topics, give me whatever. You could just ask it to give you information or reformat the information. But they also have this little button that says create podcast. And so it takes all that information. It uses 2 AI generated voices that sound human, a man and a woman, and they have a conversation about the material. So last week, I'm just playing around with it, trying to figure out what it could do. I take our business website, dreamsupport.club. I take 17 different YouTube video interviews with clients, and I just dump it into a notebook, and then I say, create podcast. And it creates this podcast. And it's 90% like you would never know that it's AI. I mean, they're complete with like awkward ums and a little bit of smacking of the lips or like little sounds like that, or even like little giggles and stuff. It's really, really interesting. So it took all those things and just talked about our business and why people work with us and the experience they have and what we do. I put it out on the Dream Support podcast. So sponsored by the Dream Support podcast.
Is the Dream Support is sponsored.
Yeah. So you could check it out there, and I put it on YouTube and it's just wild. I was like, now this is a AI product. I'm not trying to pass it off as like, this is a real thing. I'm like, this is, it talked about the rise of the fake podcast. But the problem there I see is that everyone's going to have the same 2 voices, like the same man and woman. They also only ever have positive things to say. So there's never like disagreement between them. It's always just like positive affirmation after positive affirmation. And if a client uses language you don't use or says something in a different way, it's going to pick that and integrate it instead of like using the language or the terminology you would like to use. So that happened a couple times. But overall, I thought it was pretty interesting. I showed it to Erica, my wife, and she was like, I hate this. This is scary. And then I showed it to my kids and they were like, wow, this is. So I think the real use case, a powerful one, would be like if you were in college and you were studying and you had just loaded all your notes in there and loaded all your lectures or whatever, and then asked it to create a podcast. So you could listen to it while you're doing something else and you could sort of recapture some of that information and be reminded. I think that would be a powerful thing because it's a really interesting way to learn.
Yeah. I think this reminds me when we were kicking around names for this podcast. One of the ideas I thought was that this could be a podcast called Micah Explains Technology to a Moron, where you just tell me about all the new technological advances and the things that are happening and we discuss them.
I like
Because I
it.
feel like
That's right.
this could be a segment that we do. I think one of the things that's so challenging for me with AI is, and I think this is true of me, we'll see, but I really believe in like uh, creating value, right? I love ideas. I love wordplay. I love sort of the external processing and getting to it together. That's why I just feel like there's this whole rise of people that will advertise like, oh, I have 100 YouTube channels that are all like faceless YouTube channels. I don't know if that's the term, where it's like there's just an AI generated voice. So you write a script in it and it comes up. And then it's like I could have AI write the script and then AI do the video and
then
put it out. And I'm like, what value are you adding? Especially if there's no like dissenting opinion. We're not wrestling with ideas. I'm just delivering information in video form, which I suppose is value to an extent. But I like storytelling. I want to compel people. And so I don't know, in my head, at least, I'm like, it's terrifying that all of our storytellers and artists and people that are wrestling with ideas could be replaced by AI man and AI woman giggling over things that the tech that Skynet tells them are funny.
Skynet. Well, I could tell you, I don't think, first of all, I think they could also create some sort of automation that watches the thing over and over again, inflates the watch view and comments on it. And they could probably make one with dissenting opinions in the comments and like they could probably manufacture all that, but to what end and who cares? You know what I mean? Like,
who cares is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
So I think that's pretty funny and interesting. I was going to share with you just a small clip of it. Yeah. I'll just go to the middle of it just so you can kind of hear. Here we go. Let's see.
Brainstorm all the things that when it's all in your head, it's just like,
overwhelmed. It can be very overwhelming.
Right.
And Erin talked about, she's like, I always just have this running to-do list in my head.
Right.
And she's like, it stresses me out because I just feel like I'm going to forget something.
And it's not just for like remembering tasks. It's for processing, brainstorming solutions, like all the things that when it's swirling around in your head.
Okay.
And I think too, overwhelm, it can really like stifle creativity.
Yeah.
But when we free up that,
oh my gosh. Space. Okay. I am like both amazed at the technology of how realistic that sounds.
Yeah.
And also like disgusted.
Yeah, I know.
Because that's a stream of consciousness conversation that is like, there's inflection, there's like a level of excitement.
They talk over each other.
That guy's got a better voice than I do. Like I want that really baritone-y, like, yes, it's terrible.
That's
terrible. Where are we doing this? Let's just hang it up.
Well,
this is our last episode, everybody.
I think that
we're gonna be replaced by the machines.
I think if it's machines, if it's too polished, I think that's one of the indicators of AI. Sometimes is like it's too polished. There's something unreal about this. But here's some other things that I think are what I'm calling buzzkill for AI stuff.
Okay.
So there's some keywords that I've found that whether it's ChatGPT, Opus Clip, which clips like video stuff, or, Claude, or, there's a Gemini from Google. There's all kinds of different tools, and they all have these sort of buzzwords that they use continually when I try to use them. And I have to train them to say, please do not use this word. But like one is unlock or unlocking. So every time I go to like Clip, or my assistant goes to Clip a piece of an interview with a client, it always tries to say, like in the description, unlocking the benefits of, or unlocking or tapping.
Oh, yeah.
So it's continually saying unlocking. I'm like, okay, let's vary our language a little bit so we're not just starting everything with unlocking. The other thing is in ChatGPT, or I use this thing called Tweet Hunter, which helps me manage my Twitter, and I can schedule tweets out for days and all kinds of stuff. But they have an AI feature where it will draft based on the content that you continually put out, it'll draft tweets, and then you can edit them or just push them out. And so I have a process where I go through and check them. I taught my assistant to do this on my behalf, actually. So she goes in on Mondays, checks them, edits some of them schedules.
Is a real person.
She's a real person. Her name's Paige.
Okay.
Yesterday was her birthday. She lives
Happy
in Fort
birthday,
Worth.
Paige.
It's an interesting thing because it tries to use these same words. One of the words that particular software likes to continually try to shove, it not only unlocking, but there's a phrase actually, and it's in a world. And I always think it's like it's starting a movie trailer. It's like, in a world of business.
In a world.
When you are trying to get out of the weeds of your business. You know, it's like this whole...
Unlock the secrets.
Unlocking the secrets of delegation. So it's like these phrases, unlocking, in a world. And so I'm always like, please always delete those. I don't want to use those. And I was on a call with a new client yesterday. She was talking about how she doesn't mind if her assistant uses AI, but she also is sensitive to these buzzkill words as well. And one of them for her is the word delve. She was like, nobody says delve in real life. And it's found its way into
I say delve.
I thought the same thing. Well, I gotta say it sometimes. And I do say it sometimes. But it for some reason is sensitive to her. So she's like, I don't want us to use that word. So I don't care if they use ChatGPT, but they better not be using things like delve. I'm like, okay, cool. So I just thought that was interesting. Have you noticed any sort of common phrases or anything that are dead giveaways to if something is AI generated?
I mean, no. I honestly, I'm so unaware of what's happening in the AI landscape that either it's all so good that I haven't really seen anything, or I don't really care. I haven't been paying attention to it enough. The one exception, and it's, wildly inappropriate, but there's an account I follow that on Instagram that is like, it's the same voice every time. It almost sounds like an old beer commercial. And it always starts with
they just say,
good morning, you magnificent son of a,
oh yeah, okay.
And it does this. And then it just rattles off way too many obscenities for me to ever share with anyone. But it's like this motivational, get ready for the day, own the day kind of tech talk in, 30-second to 1 minute form. That's like, it's always got some static, video background of the tropics or, whatever. And then this guy with a great voice that's just like, today you're going to dominate all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but it's also a little bit like, hell yeah, let's go. Mostly just funny. But,
this just made me think, have you seen this guy? I don't know if I've ever seen any of his reels, but he's he always is dressed very proper, and he has a mustache, and he's like an Askoff. Is that what it's called? Askoff. Caught. See, I'm not that fancy. I don't even know. So
an Askoff is what happens when you stop the food down the wrong pipe.
Stop it.
I got an Askoff.
So he's a compliment guy. So he goes around and stands on street corners and will just be like, oh, you're looking very, and he talks in an accent. Have you seen this guy?
I mean, I will this evening when Instagram hears this conversation and sends him my way.
I bet I could Google him. Yeah. Complimenting strangers. I think his name is Troy Hawke. And he's just so funny.
Yeah, I've not seen this guy.
Okay.
Love your lavender blue color scheme. Mainly the blueberries as well. Clearly a man with an eye for detail. You have a very confident stride. Very confident stride. Loved it. I adored the way you laughed at that pigeon. Compliments are simple, but not easy. Trust me. You have a marvelous weight distribution between your feet, sir. Good, easy shit. Especially for us Brits. Present company included. I can give them, and do, but I can't take.
And Russ.
Oh, stuff it.
Oh, Via.
Oh, come on.
Go on then.
Doesn't mean I don't love it. Yorkshire compliment, that's casting gold. Sincerely appreciating something someone has made an effort on will make their day. So you're an aquamarine blue jeans field of dreams. Yes, you are. You're doing a wonderful job in a tricky set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So anyway,
So I see the thing that I love about this. I mean, I have a lot of questions.
yeah.
So one, why the purple smoking jacket and ascot? Like,
Yeah.
it's a bold choice.
It was a choice.
I guess you have a gimmick and you ride that gimmick. But I love some of the language he like. This is the thing that I geek out about is like, I wish that I was as verbose as this, but like, even when he says, like, I will tell people often, like, oh, you're doing a great job. And it's sort of meant to be like fun, but also encouraging and whatever. But when he says to a truck driver, you're doing a terrific job in a very tricky set of circumstances.
Right.
I'm like, what? A very tricky set of circumstances is so specific and funny and also like gives great detail and more intent behind the compliment. I just stinking love that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to use that so many times now. It's like, you're doing quite well in a very tricky set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a great compliment.
He is so entertaining. Apparently he's got like an hour-long YouTube special. Didn't realize that. He's also done like stand-up in the same character with all the same stuff. I'm sure you could just do crowd work the whole time if you do that.
You have a very confident stride.
Yeah.
You have incredible weight distribution between your feet.
But he also gets, what's interesting about this is it just started with clips on TikTok, YouTube, all the things.
Sure.
And then people like conferences started to see him and be like, this guy would be great as a greeter. So they like actually hire him to come and be at the door and give compliments. And he's filming it. You know what I'm talking
This is
about?
what I want church greeters to be.
Dude.
Everywhere. Like,
Dude.
don't just quietly smile and wave, but you are wearing those jeans, or, you have a very confident stride.
So
You're doing quite well in a very tricky set of circumstances.
yeah. Amazing. So I think, anyway, something you said made me think of him, and I was like, man, have you seen this guy? Anyway. All right, moving on. I'd like to talk about, and we don't have to go in great detail, but adventures in business, ideas that should have worked. This is an ideas that should have worked segment. It's currently in process, so we won't give away all the details.
It's currently not working.
But here's the thing. I just got our first invoice from our vendor partner for running our e-com thing that we've got going on. So Paul and I, 2 years ago, invested in this thing. And it's an e-com business. The first thing was, hey, we'll set up a Facebook shop for you guys. That was what we came in on, right? Set up a Facebook shop. We'll use Micah's profile. We'll warm the algorithm by using Marketplace and do orders, and we'll drop ship things. And then we'll build a shop, which Facebook has a shops application. And then people will start ordering from that store, and you won't have to manage anything. And then we'll split a profit.
We are the bank, they are the operator.
Sounds great. So we invested in this thing. A year later, it's terrible results, dismal results, negligible results. Things have been sold, profit had not been made.
The algorithm changed, so they were adapting on the fly, and there's some timing piece, but
we could come up with all kinds of reasons why things don't work. But so it didn't take off. So they were like, we're shutting down our Facebook shops division.
But at least I will say, for all of the problems during that first year, at least they were wildly uncommunicative and hard to deal with.
Yeah, it was a rough go. Okay. So, but they said, okay, we're winding down the Facebook shop stuff. We're transitioning into Walmart shops, because if you go to Walmart.com, you're not just ordering from Walmart. You're ordering from Paul and Micah. You're ordering from all kinds of Joe Schmoes, because Walmart doesn't actually keep that much physical products. It's become more like Amazon, where there are people who offer what they have in their inventory to Walmart.com shoppers. So anyway, Q1, right? We started this in 2024. It didn't really kick off until March. So we had our first orders in March. So I got our Q1 invoice for profit share from them yesterday. Would you like to know what the amount was?
Yes.
Okay. $14.
Sweet. So we're 2 years in, almost 2 years in, $14.
That's what we owe them as the profit share.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
for this one, as operators, it was 50-50, us, them with Facebook. For Walmart, it's them 40, us 60. So at least we got a little upgrade there. But $14, and that was mostly from March sales. Now, the problem that I've seen is like very small margins. And we also pay a VA fee because they have a team of VAs that they work with and stuff. So there's additional fees that actually eat up our side of the profit a bit. So we're actually, that $14 is cool, but that also represents like negative in Q1 because we actually pay other fees. So that's that. But we're starting to trend in the right direction. So if they've just updated our P&L, I've been on them about it. They've finally got it, I think, correct. We're now, we're like driving fast towards the end of the year, and it's supposed to be a pretty heavy season for e-com. We've often joked because we started with like toilet paper. So what did you call us? You said we were like the kings of the West, the toilet paper kings of the West or something.
The toilet paper kings of the West, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So now at least we're trending in the right direction, because September, our gross profit, so that's before like the VA fees and stuff, was almost 1,300. So that's something that's better, right? But we're not where we wanted to be or expected to be. But for the year, it's about 22. But if you also think about the VA fees, tax fees, like California tax, all this stuff, we have a much bigger operating budget that we have to have for you to actually fulfill. So all that's pretty annoying, but at least we're starting to sell more volume. So almost 2 years in, we get our first invoice, $14. And I would say from the expectations that were given to us as salespeople and the fulfillment that we've had so far, as a salesperson yourself, how would you feel if you were on the other side of the coin?
Well, I think the challenge here is that, and this is like we were talking about it with AI earlier, like there's a little bit of an over-reliance on technology, even an over-reliance on processes. Like for them, their thing is, hey, we can manage this and it will be great and we'll run this business for you. I mean, literally, we are the bank and they are the operators. The problem is like, and we have a good, I don't know what his title is, but he communicates well. He's a guy from the Philippines who gives us weekly reports on things, and they're numbers that I don't really understand. It's like total sales, $2,200, fulfillment funds used, $2,199. So it's like, where's the profit in
That's $1.
Yeah, $1 profit, So for them, it's like, and they're all like, I think the guys that run it started this thing when they're like 25, they're 25-year-old technology bros. They're like, we can do this and make money. But like at the end of the day, everything at some level comes down to people and being able to interact with people, and your customer on the other end who's ordering their toilet paper. It's got to be a good experience for them. And if it takes them too long to order it because for whatever reason, you can't get our card to work, which is a problem that we've run into a ton of times, which is not on our end. The bank says no issue. So it's like all of them. And you have people that are just project managers or just running the account who don't really seem to care. Like at some point, if I'm in business with you, you got to let me know that you care about me and you're invested.
Yeah.
Or you have a vested interest in my success, right? Like, because we're linked together. You win, I win. Right. Same with our customers. Our customers have to feel like, hey, they're going to give us the goods and services that we want at a fair price, and it's going to be, delivered and fulfilled without issue. None of that happens. So it's like when you go to market and like your whole thing is like, we're the systems people.
Yeah.
We got this. We know the technology. We know the algorithm. And then over the course of 2 years, you demonstrate that you have no idea how to work the systems or what the algorithm is. I struggle to find what your value is that you bring to the table. I know what we bring to the table. So a good amount of money and a dream, right? Like that's what we bring to the table.
I have acted as problem solver,
You've been the project manager,
lead
obviously.
manager. Like I see these problems. We need these things fixed. Here's a customer problem that's not fixed. Here's a return that needs to be fixed. I've seen all that stuff because I go in like 3 times a week and just spot check because I don't fully trust things are happening the way they should be done and the way that I would like them to be done. I've had like a customer call me on my cell phone. I'm like, I will get this to the team, like we will take care of you. Not really knowing how well that's going to go unless I oversee that whole process. And that was not what we were sold when we
initially there were people that would ask, like on Facebook Marketplace, it's a little like Craigslisty, right? So you see a product and you send a message, say, is this still available? Are you flexible in the whatever it is, right? Like you send a message to the seller.
Right.
Well, when our operators don't respond for 2 days, it's hard to conduct business. Like that buyer is gone. They're no longer interested.
Or they would they would present things falsely, like with a falsehood. Yeah. And I was like, no, we have to be honest, people. That's not what we're doing. Anyway. So yeah, it's a little bit, but I do remain optimistic because of the volume that's going up. I remain optimistic that it can start to grow in 2025 Q1. We'll see what happens. But I mean, right now, like, there's a, like Walmart's supposed to pay us out, I don't know, 7,000 or 8,000 today. So, I mean, the sale of that is probably 6, 6.5 or something is probably what it costs to do that. But so that's the biggest they've ever owed us. And that's really good. So I'm remain optimistic. Anyway, that's the update of Interest in Business. We'll keep you updated. Maybe we'll do an update every once in a while how that's doing.
Yeah.
Once a quarter.
Interest in Business. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, have you heard of the Founders Card?
No, I have not.
So it's like a membership card. Think about it this way. You remember in fundraisers, like Josiah, he's selling these little cards for choir right now. And it's like a school fundraiser where you get discounts to all these different places with this little card.
It's like the card version of the entertainment book.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Yeah. It's like $2,000 in value. It's like, it's coupons you'd have to spend. Anyway,
the card is way better because you could just take one card and show it to all the places. So the Founders Card is like that for business and entrepreneurs and founders. It's a membership card. It's not a credit card. And it gets you discounts to all different kinds of things. So I think it's really valuable if someone is in a startup situation, they're an entrepreneur, they're a founder, they travel a lot. There's like, you automatically get like gold status in different things or hotel networks or things like that. Instead of having to spend a certain amount to get the perks or whatever, you're just in. It's that way for like Hertz Car Rental, Delta Airlines, and all different kinds of stuff, Marriott. So that's all cool, but I don't travel much. So that doesn't really matter to me. But then they have other things. And the one perk that has stuck out to me as a business owner is they have a deal with Stripe and they have a deal with Square, which is payment processing, right? And payment processing, there's a processing fee. It's usually 2.9%, somewhere in there for most cards. Unless it's American Express, then it's like 3.5 or something. So they say for the lowest tier of the Founders Card, if you use Stripe as your payment processor, you can get up to $20,000 of transactions with no fee. So that means, that's like $600 or something, right? So you immediately get $600 back in your pocket or in your bank account just for having the Founders Card and attaching it like to, hey, we're a part of this sort of thing. So I'm like, well, that's worth it. And then if you get elite status, it goes up to 50,000, which is more like 1,300 or just under that. So I started thinking about investigating, should I get this for that reason? But the only reason I started investigating is because I got a LinkedIn message from one of their salespeople says you can get it for a year for free. So there's a membership fee typically that is somewhere in the 300 to 500 range. If you get elite status, it's more than that. But I'm like, okay, so I could immediately make back, even it's free, but even if I was paying, I could immediately make back what I invested in it just by hooking up my Stripe. And I think that's pretty cool. I was just curious if you had heard about it.
No, but like credit card processing, merchant services, that sort of thing is a little bit in my wheelhouse as part of what we do at the company that I work for. We have a division that does that. And then we also have local bank partners that we work with that do that. And they're, we see it all the time. They used to charge you a lot for the terminal, right?
Right.
The hardware.
Right.
And now like places like Square will send you the terminal for free.
Right.
Right. But then they charge you like 2.75. But then there's all these hidden fees on top of it. And some services will charge you more if you're using a debit card versus a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we ask customers to do all the time is like, give me 2 statements. And then we save them like for our internal servicing, we can save people money, almost a full percentage point a lot of times. But if you're getting a discount on the worst rate and that discount puts you still above the best rate, then I don't know if the card matters much. Now I travel a lot. So
yeah,
the idea of something, and I'm all about like the points. Give me the Marriott
give
points.
me the points.
The United points, like
yeah,
I want to be able to upgrade all my flights.
So it could be worth, I mean, if someone like has that stuff, it could be worth it. But also have like discounts, like 20% on Dropbox or all different kinds of services. So there's like 500 benefits. If you were really going for it in a startup world, you'd be using a lot of the services that they provide discounts to. Anyway,
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept. Yeah, this is a bit, we've really turned this into like the business pod edition, which is cool.
Which is fun. I like a free flowing conversation.
If I was going to go back in time and record an intro to this, I'd be like, welcome to the Mr. Puntastic Podcast. Today, Paul and I will be discussing all things AI business. And so if you're interested in those sorts of things, stick around. If not, skip to the end and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, I might start with today, Micah explains technology to a moron, and Paul tries out to be a bass singer.
Oh yeah, because you hit the fun things. So now's the time in the pod where we hit the fun thing.
The best jingle in the game.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Now, we should know AI generated this song.
Totally.
So, like you asked me again, do I like AI?
What's interesting about this is you said you don't know how to prompt AI, like you don't know how to get it to do what you want. Well, I had to try several different things to produce that. And, a couple of tries was like, I don't like that. But that one, I was like, this is it. This is what I like. Anyway, so pun and done, I wanted to present to you a birthday card that I got on my birthday.
It's not even my birthday.
It's not for you. It was a birthday card that I got on my birthday. Nice. But I keep forgetting to show you. I have it on my desk because I've been waiting to show it to you. And this is from my wife's grandparents. So here it says, ever get a birthday card with $50 inside? Well, get ready. Like, all right.
So what's inside? I've received that card. It is $50.
Yeah, deer.
Elk, deer.
With antlers. Yes. Happy birthday.
I think when they have antlers, are they elk or are they bucks? They're still a deer?
They're
elk
bucks.
Is different than
yeah, elk is different.
What's the difference between an elk and a buck or a deer?
What's the difference between elk and a deer? Those are different animals.
Not wildly different, though. They're the same species.
I'm sure they're part of the same category. It'd be.
Is it? I mean,
I don't know.
Is it like what's the difference between a bird and a dog, or is it like what's the difference?
I don't think it's that big.
And a parrot,
That's closer. Yes. So that was the card I wanted to share with you because I thought it was pretty funny. When I opened it up, all I saw, honestly, there was a $50 bill taped inside. I was like, oh, awesome. And then it didn't even dawn on me that these are bucks for day.
They actually put a $50 bill in there.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, well, that's super nice.
Yeah, it's great. Yours, I take it when you got it, you didn't get that.
Probably not, but like that's also wildly confusing because if you're going to go to the effort of doing the pun, which, you know, for you and me, someone gives you a card like that, what it communicates is, I know you.
Yeah.
I get you. I see you on the internet.
That's right. See you.
That's kind of your jam, right? So that says a lot. And then when you get the laugh inside, it's like, ha ha ha, that's great. But when you actually put the $50 in there, now you negate the pun. There was no reason to do that.
They didn't have to give me
that off for free.
I'm happy that they did. And I think
I'm sure you are.
they didn't want to do that to me, but
yeah,
it's pretty good. All right. So
all right,
let's hear what you got.
Well, you know, we're heading into the fall and we'll soon be having, you know, colder weather and wearing jackets. So I thought this one was appropriate. Did you know that Spider-Man has a winter jacket made entirely of Mediterranean flatbread?
No.
It's a pita parka.
I heard this. That is good. I like it. Give me another one.
Okay, so this was a conversation my wife and I had the other day.
Okay.
She said, why don't you write a book instead of all your stupid wordplay jokes? And I said, that's a novel idea.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. That is very novel. Yeah. Okay. I got one. All right. What kind of shoes do frogs wear?
I don't know.
Open-toed.
I like that one. What was that move? Was that
It was a little dance. My chair swivels, so
gotcha.
I don't know what came over me. It was just a little dance.
I really liked this one. I renamed my toilet Jim instead of John. People are really impressed when I tell them I'm going to the gym every morning.
That's smart. I see what they did there. Yeah. It's intelligence at play. What's the worst sport to play?
I don't know.
Badminton.
Ooh. That's a tough one because when you're delivering that joke, you have to decide if you're going to say the N in
Minton, though.
I understand, but I've always said badminton as if it was a rebel glove.
Mittens.
Yeah, like it was an ineffective glove.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Liam Neeson, the star of Taken.
Yes.
And,
yes. Yes. What is his famous line? What does he do?
Money I don't have.
Oh,
what
gosh.
I do have are a particular set of skills that make life very difficult for people like you.
Bro, that was so good. That was very good. That was impressive.
I will find you and I will kill you.
There's something there.
There's something there. Anyway, he had just performed a stunt and looked a little banged up. One of the production assistants came up and said, "You look hurt, Mr. Neeson. Would you like a balloon?" And Liam Neeson said, "Why a balloon?" He said, "It's a heel Liam balloon."
Wow.
I will find you.
I have a particular set of skills.
By the way, this we were funny and going here, but the most terrifying part of Taken, right? Like as a father of daughters, like there's a lot.
Oh my gosh.
The worst part of that movie, and no one ever talks about this, you know, like, because in that scene, right, he talks to the kidnappers because he was on the phone with his daughter.
Right.
And he's giving her instructions and whatever. Before he talks to them and does that like awesome line, he says to his daughter, "Get under the bed. And I want you to listen. Get under the bed. I want you to listen very carefully to me." And then he says this, and like the music stops and he says, "They're going to take you." And like that moment, I just got chills just saying it. Like they're going to take you. Can you imagine saying that? I mean, it's a
No,
movie.
absolutely not.
They made a franchise, 3 of them, and a TV show.
Absolutely not.
So it worked out. But
yeah,
could you imagine saying that to your child? They're going to take you.
Terrible.
And I want you to tell me everything.
Terrible.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Why did the bed wear a disguise?
Why did the bed wear a disguise? Let's see. Now I like the idea of trying to figure these out.
Okay. Really need the Jeopardy theme.
Maybe like a mask.
It was undercover.
Oh,
It was right there.
yeah.
You knew
It's
it.
right there.
I almost said that, when you mix up the first letter of words, which I'll do all the time.
You do this a lot,
I
more
do
than
it.
anyone I know. And it's always hilarious when it happens, but you do this.
There's a name for that.
I think we talked about this at one point. I can't remember what the name is, though. But
Spoonerism.
spoonerism.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a couple examples would be jelly beans or bunny
That's like
phone.
LEG.
Bunny phone.
Wait. Jelly beans is a spooners?
No, belly jeans.
Oh, but I think just now you said jelly beans.
I was reading it the other way around and I fixed it.
You fixed the spoonerism. That's really funny.
What's also funny is
Belly jeans.
at the
is
same
hilarious,
time,
by the way.
at the same time you said that you got chills or you had like a reaction, my body also had a reaction. My stomach growled really loud. And it might, if you listen back, you might be able to find where my stomach growls in the audio. But anyway.
All right. Well, you said you need to have lunch. I'm going to leave you with one more
Okay, sounds good.
pun and then be done because it's going to be a pun and done. What did the river say when it saw beavers approaching? What did the river say when it saw beavers approaching?
Damn.
Well, I'll be damned.
I'll be, because it's personal, because it's
The river
because you
yeah.
get. Oh, that was great.
personification.
Personification. Yes. That's very good. Have you heard the term Herkle-Durkle?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I just heard it now and I will never forget it. But
It's when someone has a lazy morning and they just like remain in bed for extra long. It's called Herkle-Durkling.
okay.
That
So are you a Herkle-Durkle or are you one who Herkle-Durkles?
It is an action you do. So like,
It's a verb then.
yeah.
To Herkle-Durkle.
Yeah. Herkle-Durkle.
Okay.
We use that
Which
term
reminds me
in our house.
Which reminds me of when your youngest son was young and he talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He would always call them Turkle-Turkles.
Turkle. He had a backpack that was a turtle backpack,
Ninja
and he
Turtles.
would be like, Turkle all the time. Oh, yeah.
Turkle-Turkle.
Awesome. It's been good. Been fun hanging out. Having
All right,
good
man.
lunch. See you next time.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Mr. Puntastic.